Sheriff Chad Leonard on Law Enforcement Center and the jail bond referendum. Sheriff?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me here and having me here. There's flyers back here for those of you that live in Dallas County and want to get more information on the upcoming bond referendum. Wanted to give you a brief overview of our project that's upcoming for Dallas County, and that's the flyer.
Sheriff, I've always wanted to say this to an arresting officer, but you have to state your name and address before, right, yeah.
Nice.
You have to for the record,
Oh.
and I wasn't kidding you, and I'm not gonna fingerprint you, but I do need your name and address, right?
We don't have room for you, Mayor.
And now the presentation, right?
Chad Leonard from Dallas Center.
Thank you, Sheriff.
All right, well, kind of giving you a brief overview of the project that we have coming up on May 2nd of this year. And a lot of you have heard it. A lot of people in this room I've recognized have been to our jail tours as recently as yesterday. But this is a $22.9 million bond or ask to the public of Dallas County. I think it's important for everybody to understand why we're in the predicament that we are in. Kind of give you an idea of the sheriff's office right now. The addition on the sheriff's office was built in 1988. We had 28,000 population for Dallas County. We had 28 employees at the sheriff's office. We now have 77 employees. We are 82,000 in population, and we cannot sustain the growth of the amount of prisoners. When we're talking about prisoners, it used to be the northwest corner of Dallas County, the Perry area, was probably our #1 intake for our jail, and that's not the case any longer. Waukee is probably our #1 intake for prisoners, with West Des Moines, Clive, and Urbandale. Basically, this entire metro area has really affected how the sheriff's office operates and functions. So, kind of give you an idea. Over a 6-month period of time, I'm trying to get a lot of stuff in. I know I don't have a lot of time, but in 6 months, we received 62 prisoners from Perry. But in the same 6 months, we received 248 prisoners from Waukee, West Des Moines, Clive, and Urbandale. 140 of those from right here in Waukee. So that kind of gives you an idea of the sheriff's office. We only have a jail capacity of 36 prisoners. And in the year 2000, we were overcrowded. The state of Iowa came in, issued us a variance, giving us additional 12 beds in our jail, allowing us to go to 48 jail capacity. But we were supposed to have that fixed by the year 2005. Here we are 17 years later. The state is going to take those 12 additional beds away from us. We go back to a 36 prisoner capacity facility behind Waynes County Sheriff's Office, which has a county population of 6,400. So there's 98 county jails in the 99 counties. We're 10th in population right now, probably soon to be 9th. And we will have the 49th ranked jail capacity facility in the state. So, and I know some of the people in here might have been around in 1988. When this facility was added onto, yes, it was supposedly designed to have a second floor on it. It would not matter if we put the second floor on it. We would not be able to get all of our prisoners back from other facilities. We have spent $237,000 over 6-month time just paying rent to other facilities, outsourcing prisoners. And majority of our prisoners go to the Story County Jail. We used to have them in the Polk County Jail, but the price got too excessive where we couldn't afford it. So we moved everybody to Story County Jail. Story County's getting overcrowded, so they're starting to remove our prisoners. So now we have prisoners in the Boone County Jail, a couple in Guthrie County Jail. We're entering into an agreement with Jasper County and to hold at least 10. But the problem we're having now is Polk County's overcrowded with women and juveniles. So we're competing for beds with these other facilities. So which means that the deputies and transport officers are going farther and farther and farther to place people in other jails. There's not very many county jails that are very big and that can hold very many prisoners. So You know, Boone County can only take, they usually only have 12 additional beds, same as Jasper, 12 or 14 beds. Even though Polk County has a wing that they're currently operating under is 1,226 prisoners, they can be full at 800 prisoners in that wing due to segregation rules. So, so it's important to note that every prisoner in a county jail in the state of Iowa has a mandatory minimum of so many square foot. The day rooms where they congregate in the middle where they sit, those have a mandatory minimum of square foot rules, and additional square foot per person that are in those cells and stuff. But the way we are currently set up at the sheriff's office, we have 7 pods. If I have one female come in, she takes up 4 or 5 beds that are in that pod. If I have a violent juvenile, that violent juvenile will take up a pod. And we've spiked over the winter months at 77 prisoners. And we have a lot of people say, why don't you farm those people out or place those people out? Well, these other jails will not take your violent offenders. They will not take your ones that are on a lot of medications and coming down off of heroin or coming down off of methamphetamine or on some kind of, you know, have mental illness and stuff. So it's a logistical nightmare for us to be placing these people in other facilities, because we get there, they have problems, they send them back. On average, we spend about 3 hours per trip to Story County Jail. Just to the Story County Jail, we did 158 round trips in 8 months' time. And in my mind, that is 158 round trips that we did not have to do. It's a public safety risk. The sheriff's office will never be out of the transport business, but we can alleviate a lot of these transports by having our own facility and keeping everybody under one roof. And I always hate bringing this up, but we lost 2 Des Moines police officers right out here on the interstate doing a transport. And granted, it was a warrant transport, but it, you know, and that was it. And we'll always do warrant transports. But my point is, these are 158 unnecessary transports that we did not need to put the prisoner's life or the deputies or the transport officers in jeopardy by doing them. So, and the other public safety risk to this is we are Waukee's primary backup for the most part for law enforcement. We take deputies off the road to do transports. It's the other deputies on the north side of the county got to come down and cover towards the middle and stuff. So response time to assist other agencies suffers. So all the way around, everything we do, this is all affected. You know, so it's just important that everybody understands what we're going through at the sheriff's office. And I know every town's got ideas and projects and plans for their future growth and stuff, but everything you do here affects us and how we operate the sheriff's office. And because you do have holding cells here, but they're not utilized. West Des Moines Police Department has 8 individual holding cells. They can only hold a person for 24 hours. They are not utilized. 99% of the time they just take them to the county that they were arrested in. What a lot of people don't understand, if you're arrested at the Jordan Creek Mall, you go to the Dallas County Jail. And it's hard, because when I went to West Des Moines City Council meeting, there's a lot of people in there that said, what do we need you for? We have our own police department. Well, they don't understand that the sheriff's office has to house all those prisoners, and we're their jail. Even though they have their holding cells, they don't have correctional staff. They'll let their community service officer maybe sit with them for a couple hours, but they will take them right to whatever jail they need to go to, whether it's Warren County, Dallas, or Polk County. So, so I'm here asking for your support on this project, or at least give you the information, so when you have family and friends ask you the questions, you can answer them. I know Shelley's been through, did the tour a couple weeks ago. Last night was a very successful night. We had a lot of people come through the tour last night. We have on this, we're going to do another town hall. We did a town hall here in Waukee at the community center, and we're going to do another one in Waukee on April 24th for some folks that had some more questions and stuff. But I can tell you, after you go to the informational meeting, I'm not smart enough to lie to you. I'm just going to give you all the statistics and let you make your own decision. But the statistics they're all there. We have an extremely small jail to service Dallas County, and I think we were just labeled 5th in the country for growth here, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and it's not all, it's not all great things. I mean, talk about the prisoners that we receive in our jail now. Well, we had a murder here last year. We had a triple murder in Perry last year. We had a willful injury or attempted murder situation in DeSoto last year. We had the juvenile shoot up the apartment complex here in Waukee last year. We just had the young man go into the Walmart store down by Jordan Creek, bust up the cabinet, take 3 shotguns and a box of rounds, and we were able to locate all that stuff and to kind of tell you how bright he was. He came in the next day looking for his coat, so we were able to snatch him up and bring him to the jail. But,
You can't protect the dumb.
but you know what, and what I'm getting at is 20 years ago when I came to the county from Buena Vista County, we it might have been Mayberry and you might have had Otis checking in on the weekends, but we don't have that anymore. It's we have violent offenders in our facility, and we do the best we can to accommodate and do all the services that the Iowa code mandates. I do get a lot of phone calls saying, why aren't you like Sheriff Joe in Arizona and build the tent on the courthouse lawn? And I was able to go to lunch with him about 4 years ago, and there is no Arizona code that he had to follow. You know, he's no longer sheriff, but he can feed them. He can feed prisoners soup and water and all those things. I have a mandatory minimum of 2,200 calories per day. I have to have a dietitian certify the meals. Again, every prisoner in the facility gets a mandatory minimum of square foot in a facility. So when somebody says, how did you come up with that design? And that looks like a fancy jail. It's all out of the Iowa code. We took the projected number of prisoners for the next 20 years, took that by the square foot outlined in the Iowa code, and that's how we came up with the square footage of the facility. There's no fluff in this facility. It is strictly functional. Again, we have 77 employees at the sheriff's office. There's nothing special about this. The main additions to this is the kitchen. Last year I spent $196,000 on food for our jail, but we contract out. We contract at $5.85 per meal. Comes out to $17.55 a day per person. When you have your own kitchen in the facility, it averages out to about $4 a day. So it's a considerable savings to the taxpayers of Dallas County by having our own kitchen. I know the initial expense of putting the hardware in is expensive, but this facility is going to last a long time. So there is an initial appearance courtroom designed in this facility. If you're arrested today, you have to be seen by a judge within 24 hours. So 5th Judicial has agreed that they'll use this facility either electronically or physically. They'll come out to the facility, see all the new arrested people, and we will not be transporting back into the courthouse every day. Those people that don't bond out, that are actually in jail, they will we'll transport those folks back into the common square, the Adel area, and into the courthouse. And one other thing I'll touch on, the existing sheriff's office that we're in, once we hit 82,000 population, again, another state mandate, we have to provide another courtroom. So instead of evacuating the 2nd floor of the courthouse, the county's chosen to take their current jail, renovate it into that mandated courtroom. All criminal court will be done in our existing sheriff's office, and all civil court will be done in the main court. So this way we don't have our prisoners rubbing shoulders with our citizens that are in the courthouse doing business every day. And so it was a good idea. Our county attorney came up with that idea, and it's that will not be an additional expense to this. And if I can point out anything on this, and the back page is the most important, what it's going to cost you as a taxpayer in Dallas County. I live in Dallas Center. It's going to cost me about $20 more per year, but you can put your house in there on the assessed value where you kind of gauge it with Dallas County's rollbacks and stuff. That 2nd column there shows you what you're actually taxed at. The 3rd column is how much it will cost you per year on your taxes or per month in that last column. And then for our farmers, it does have an agricultural section there, and you can figure out what it costs per acre and stuff. The website's on here. There's a lot more details on here. I can go on forever. This, you know, this is my thing until May 2nd, so. And then that Samuel group, the projections here, that bottom chart, this is another one that's important. If we don't do anything, it shows you, the red line is if you don't do anything and we just continue paying what we're paying today. And the blue line is if we actually build it. And over a 30-year period, we will save $22 million. And that's large in part because if it voted on, all this TIF district down here at, in the West Des Moines area, the Jordan Creek Mall, all of that, they will have to pay towards this debt service. And there's $615 million worth of TIF district down there that I think it's important for those folks to have to pay towards this debt. And now the abatements that are going on around Adel and some other communities, they won't have to pay until their abatements are over, but that's far less than the TIF districts in Dallas County. So I guess the